It is officially time for us to wrap up week 2 of the Premier League. And first of all, I can't believe that week 2 is already done. Like, that's crazy. The Portuguese league is done with week 2. Actually, the Portuguese league's done with week 3. The Premier League's done with week 2. I think La Liga's now officially done with week 2. Unbelievable. But instead of me just reacting and me telling you how I feel about every single team, I thought it'd be interesting and fun for you guys to get involved. So I'm gonna be reading some of the posts that y'all have put on social medias, bring you guys into the video. So like I said, if you guys want to get involved, make sure you follow me on social medias, and every week I will hit you with, like, a little thing where I'm like, hey, let's recap. How do you guys feel? And I'll bring y'all into the video. We knew that Manchester United was gonna have a tough game against Brighton, and the old Manchester United people would say that's what they're saying around the internet has shown back up as they drop points. We also had an unbelievable Arsenal, an unbelievable City. City just look mad, and Haaland looks like a machine, right? They look crazy. And then we get this really big surprise with Chelsea. They win 6-2. Is Wolves really bad, or is Chelsea finally catching a stride? And then you got Liverpool, who I believe hasn't conceded a goal and won both their games 2-0. I could be wrong. But then you have Trent getting really mad at the new manager for being subbed out in like the 78th minute or something. So a lot going on, a lot to break down. We'll start off right here with Mr. FPL, who said Liverpool looked a lot more composed under Klopp. Opposite of Klopp. Rock and roll style. It's a nice change. I do agree with this in a way. I think that with Klopp, you get a very, like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, we going forward. For years, we saw this Liverpool that was going to compete with City by giving it all really offensively, and then VVD and clamping it up in the back. Now I feel like they look a lot more composed, a lot more organized, because it feels like a more balanced formation, where for balanced tactics and stuff, where with Klopp, it was like, hey, let's just knock it out the park. And some people like that. Some people don't like it. I personally really like Klopp's style. I'm not saying I don't like Slott's style. I'm just saying that, I think Klopp had to do what he had to do to compete against this Guardiola. Now, Liverpool, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, they look incredible. They look very, very good. They look very strong offensively. And one thing I do really want to put out there really quick is that Luis Diaz is Timothy. Luis Diaz played at Porto. He was incredible, and he's doing really well in the Premier League. And I think he's a player that, if Liverpool want to have a lot of success, obviously Salah's going to be Salah, but they really need Luis Diaz to play at an extremely high level, and everybody else will follow. Darwin Nunez, everybody else will follow, We'll go to Dell LFC. Liverpool playing well with fluid football. I agree. Conceding less chances. People who doubt us are silly. Definitely top 3 again. It's simple. Do I think that Liverpool is going to be in this title race? I think it comes down to depth. I think it comes down to Luis Diaz, if he could stay at a very, very high level. And I think it really comes down to Darwin Nunez slotting in some goals. Now, with that being said, I think that, me personally, if I was to put money on a team to end top 3, it would probably be Liverpool, because they've been together. A lot of those players have been together for so long, that even though Klopp is gone, they're kind of comfortable with each other, and then bringing in a new idea of football sometimes really helps a club. It can be really bad, but at the same time, it can be really good. So I do agree with you. If I had to put money somewhere, it'd probably be Liverpool. I think Liverpool look good. I think they're going to end high. And it's what I think. You know what I mean? It's what I think, man. So again, could they end out of the top 3? Yes, but I'm just trying to think to myself, who's gonna really battle with them? Is it gonna be Chelsea? Is it gonna be United? Who's it gonna be that really battles for that 3rd, for that 4th spot? Psycho says, this is how I feel. You're showing me how you feel. I love that. It's remarkable. It's so good. It's so good. That I know they didn't score, but that right there just sums up beautiful football. That right there, that sums up beautiful football, man. And like I said, I think Klopp is one of the greatest managers in world football. I cannot wait to see where he goes next. But I think sometimes fresh ideas, fresh faces is very, very important. Next is from my boy Alex, who is one of my longest viewers, been watching for a long, long, long time. Says, was very disappointed not to get a result at Brighton. Ten Hag needs to play the players he brought in like De Ligt, who can play his style. Midfield again was overran and left open. Good signs playing out of Brighton, high press, but we need to be much better. First of all, I'm going to agree with Alex here, and there's a few things I do want to say. Man United are going to struggle if certain players are consistently inconsistent. Casemiro is one of the most consistent players at Real Madrid, but you never know what Casemiro you're going to get at Manchester United, which is a problem. Also, I don't think they're consistent enough at the number 9 position. I know they're not fully healthy there, but sometimes you get goals, sometimes you don't get goals. And if we look back to last week, if it wasn't for a late awesome goal from the new signing, who knows what would have happened there. So Manchester United still have a lot of problems. Manchester United's problems are not over. They're not ending that quickly. They made it unbelievable signings. I agree. I agree with that. And I think a lot of the signings are awesome signings, but I think it's going to take a while. And it seems like Manchester United is set on Ten Hag being the guy, which is fine if they want him to be the guy. But I think everybody needs to understand that with Ten Hag and even with these signings, that, you know, top 5 is going to take a lot of work. And I don't want United fans to get mad at me, but this is where they're at as a football club. And this is where they're at with this manager. And it's no digs at the manager or anything like that, but until this manager gets the right players for his play style, I don't know if it's because you just get different Manchester Uniteds every week, in my opinion. And that's kind of a problem. So maybe he just needs the right players, if that makes sense. Happy with our out of position pressing. Our in possession buildup needs a lot of work. Make or break for Ten Hag this season. Feel right now though. Listen, I agree with you. I think it is a make or break for Ten Hag. I'm going to be honest. If Ten Hag doesn't get great results, I think that he could be sacked midseason. I'm going to be real with y'all. I do think that this is a manager that can get sacked midseason. I think it's very possible. Or I think he can really turn it on. You do see a lot of good pressing now, but it still feels like there's so much lacking and slacking going forward. Like, who's going to get the goals? Who's going to be your playmaker? Who's going to be your real guy? Like, Bruno Fernandes kind of playing as like a false 9. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And look, Bruno Fernandes is very good going forward. He's a great goal scorer, great assist player. I think that at Sporting, when they weren't that good, he was there really, the wheels were ticking because of him, if that makes sense. And he's a phenomenal player all the way around, but I just don't know if false 9 is really where he should be playing, because I think that's where they played him. So we'll see how it goes. Next one comes in and says, Man United, we are better than last season, I can say, but we need to convert our chances. I do agree with this massively, and stay focused on defense. Hopefully we can show up against Liverpool next week and see if there's a change. The game yesterday was lost because Ten Hag, sadly, poor substitutions. Now, I do want to go ahead and say something very quickly. If Liverpool, who is cooking right now, comes out and beats Manchester United 3-0, because you play for Manchester United, everything is looked at under a microscope. That's facts. Everybody knows that. That's just what it is. So everything's going to be blown out of proportion. And if they lose again this early in the season, even though it's to Liverpool, everyone, not everyone, but 60% of the fan base, 70% of the fan base is going to start to turn, start calling out players, start calling out Ten Hag. And now we're back in the same rhythm that has caused problems for Manchester United for a long time. I am still a firm believer that Ten Hag is not the manager for Manchester United. I haven't been as vocal this year, but I wanted him sacked last year. I never want to see people lose their jobs, but I just don't think Ten Hag is the man for Manchester United because of the way he's held himself with certain situations, with certain players. Arsenal, first of all, I'll give you my opinion. They were awesome. Took a long time to get goal, but they're a good team. They're well-structured. They got great players. They got great substitutes. Saka's amazing. Arsenal are looking very sharp, but we're still lacking that major attacking threat. I like Havertz, but I'd love a nasty finisher, a skillful, pacey winger, because I don't think Martinelli is it anymore. He does the same thing every time and hasn't learned a new skill. A lot of wingers in modern football right now are doing the same thing over and over, but that's okay. Let me explain. Bernardo Silva, when he's on the ball, we all know he's going to cut back to his left foot. It's just what Bernardo Silva does. Bernardo Silva is going to go to his left foot 99% of the time. But if you're good enough, you can consistently do it and get it off, right? So I don't think Martinelli is the issue. What I do think is the issue, as much as I like Havertz, as much as I think Havertz has been a great signing for Arsenal, they need Gyökeres. And I'm being honest with you. And you're probably like, what did you just say? Gyökeres is a striker that plays for Sporting, and I know his buyout clause is 100 million, which is a lot. But this guy played for a second division team in England, and he cooked in England. And he got to Sporting, and he transformed Sporting into a goal-scoring machine. This guy last year, on the shoulder-to-shoulder, you couldn't get him off the ball. He can run with it. He got skills on him. He's fast, and his finishing is remarkable. Sporting in 3 games this season in Portugal has scored 14 goals, and he has been a part of a lot of them. He is an absolute machine at the 9. And I hate saying it because he plays for Sporting, and I never want to see Sporting cooking with players. But the absolute facts is this guy is an absolute machine, and Arsenal could use him because he's a big, great finisher. Next up, I think we have been really good, especially in defense like last season. Defenses win championships, slowly gaining more confidence with, he's nice, to be honest with you. Still think we need a forward. I agree with you. We just talked about it. Cover for Saka or a striker. Slightly worried about Martinelli. Overall, really happy. Would like to see a few more transfers, to be honest. I think you guys have a really good team, and I think the truth is this. The Arsenal is going to come down to big games. And Arsenal's so good and City's so good, it's just going to come down to big games, I think. I think it's going to be the big games that decide the Premier League, man. A lot of the leagues, you win and lose the leagues, not based like La Liga. You don't really win La Liga based off of El Clasico. Obviously, you always want to win El Clasico, but you kind of win it based off the smaller games. You got to get the results in the smaller games. And El Clasico, like, it is what it is. In the Premier League, I think this year, man, I think these teams are so strong. They're not going to drop a lot of points, and it's going to come down to how Arsenal plays against City, how Arsenal plays against Liverpool, and all that, man, in my opinion. Next, STA says, Arsenal need a X-Factor attacker. Whether that's a striker or a winger or left winger, just need another. Listen, this is what I'm saying. It feels to me, the Arsenal situation feels a lot like Benfica situation. I'm a Benfica fan. Arsenal's obviously way better than Benfica, and they actually play good football. But they double cover Di Maria, and when they double cover Di Maria at Benfica, there's nothing on the left. We don't have nobody that's that anybody's scared of, and it kind of feels like that way with Arsenal. Arsenal, if you could lock up Saka, where's it going to come from? And that's what I'm saying. I think someone like Gyökeres could be really good because Gyökeres is the type of striker, bro, that you could pop the ball up and he's just going to run on it and win it every time. There's going to be no center backs. Maybe VVD can knock him off the ball shoulder to shoulder, but somebody like Gyökeres could be really, really good, man, 100%. Chelsea, we got to talk about that, man. Chelsea, I think we are offensively very prepared, but defensively and in the midfield, we are exposed against teams that run against us. I think because of the performances, one of Lavia, hopefully I said that right, Enzo and Caicedo have to be dropped. I think we need a center back. It's hard to say that Chelsea need anybody else because the amount of players they have. But again, a lot of players were bought for the same position that were kind of poorly bought, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. But I do agree with you. I agree with a few things with this midfield. I think that when Caicedo was signed, I think that having like a really, really, really good, maybe like a veteran defensive mid, someone that can really control a midfield would have freed up Enzo. I think right now with Enzo not being able to be as free as he was when he played for Benfica or as free as he was when he played for Argentina, it's lacking him getting the numbers that he could get from that midfield because his roles are very different at Chelsea and he kind of has to be more of everything, where at Benfica and Argentina, you really just like when he got the ball, you knew offensively he was going to give you something special. But I do agree with you. I think more than defense for Chelsea, I think it's the midfield. Like, I just think that this game, obviously it is what it is, but last game, I just remember, like, I think it was like the second goal or something. Like, they just ran right through that midfield like it was nothing. The midfield needs to be stronger, needs to be better defensively, and needs to give more fight, in my opinion. I think it will really help the defense. I think the team has what it takes when it comes to momentum. Once we have the momentum, our build-up play is so hard to stop. I'm very optimistic for the season, nevertheless, since I think the team is slowly but surely moving to status that it needs to be. Listen, I think it's just more important about this, Daniel. I think it's more important about being realistic of where you think they're going to end and where you want them to end and where they can end in a few years. Does that make sense? If you're automatically being like, oh, we bought a bunch of players, we got to get first place, That's not the way to look at it, right? And that's the same thing I say about Manchester United. I think if you're just real about the situation your club is in and where you want to end to be proud and be like, you know what, this is a good stepping stone, going in the right direction. I think that's important. And I think being real about that is the biggest thing. Like if Chelsea could fight for a fourth spot and United could fight for a fourth spot, I think for both those clubs, that's huge right now just because of the direction the clubs need to be going in. Fourth this year and then forward and forward and forward. I just think that Chelsea and Arsenal are City and Arsenal are so strong, and Liverpool look very strong as well. So I think Chelsea have found their system now. It seems to be working well. Palmer at 10 looks great, surrounded by fluid talent we have up front. DJ, I like what you're saying here. Consistency is going to be everything, especially with a young team. Hopefully you don't take that the wrong way. They look good. They've dropped 6 goals today. Amazing. Can you come back next week and do the same thing? Now, we're not saying drop 6 goals, but can you put up at least 2 and defend a little bit better? Can you win your game? Because consistency is what you need in big teams. And these players are young, so can they do it again? And once they show, let's hopefully get 2-3 games, a little win streak going, get that blood pumping. Then we could talk about, Chelsea really being back and cooking. Wolves, not too mad. Kind of what I expected from Wolves, playing a top 2 team and then a team that should finish 4th. Just didn't expect 6-2. I agree. Also, just kind of used to Wolves having a slow start and picking up steam at the end of October, November now. I didn't realize that they actually do that, of picking up later. But also, I think that Neto, I don't know how you guys feel, but I think Neto was a really good attacker for Wolves. So losing him is going to take a little bit of time to kind of adapt as well. Aston Villa, over the last 2 games, I've been very impressed with how we have performed. It is a shame we lost 2-0 against Arsenal, as I felt like we should have at least gotten a goal or even a point from the game, and we proved that we can hang with the best in the league. I am very excited to see where Aston Villa ends this year. I'm very excited for it. I think they have a good team, and last year was awesome, and I hope they can repeat something like last year again. So I am really, really excited. I hope I get to watch more Aston Villa games this year, because I watched a bit last year, but I didn't watch as much as I want to, as much as I wish I would have. Spurs should have had 6, slightly disappointed, but I'm proud we're actually getting chances in scoring compared to last year. I think there's big opportunity players-wise in the club for growth. Hopefully no injuries that are big, and we can keep improving. I like this, bro. Like, I agree with you. I think it's important, lads, to kind of just be real with your team. You know what I mean? Like, right now, me as a Benfica fan, the way I'm seeing Benfica play, I don't think we can win the league, bro. And if we don't sort things out, it's going to be another really terrible year. I don't even know if we'll score a goal in the Champions League. Sometimes it's just about being real. I love my team. I love my players. But the way we're playing right now, come on, man. Sort it out, bro. Otherwise, we're just in a bad place. I know we're supposed to have certain expectations, but we got to be real with each other as well. And Sporting looks really strong. Anyways, back to Everton. Everton fan here. As expected, to be honest, I don't believe we will go down this year. How many times can we just hang on? Oh, you believe you're going to go down? This is really sad for me, bro. I have a really hard time with this. Brother, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest, I have a really hard time with this because me growing up, Everton was such a historic club. So even talking about them being in a relegation battle just blows my mind. It really I can't comprehend it and I can't understand it. I hope you guys don't end up going down this year, man, just because, like I said, Everton's such a historic team, but I wish y'all the best, man. I hope y'all pull through what could be a really tough year. Man City, as a Man City fan, I thought we looked really fast, sharp, played really expected football. Haaland also really sharp and fresh, as did KDB. Savio and Rico, they both have really bright futures ahead of them. I really like that Savio kid for Brazil. And just to touch real quick on City, I think Haaland he's so good, dude. He's so good, dude. He's so good, man. Owned Chelsea in a stellar performance versus IPS, 6 points, and all without Rodri. True. Potentially maybe the best midfielder in the world is missing still. Kind of crazy to think that way, man. But City just looks so good with Haaland, bro. Haaland's a machine. City's a machine. Well-oiled machine.